Okay guys, as promised, I'm gonna show you the best I can on how to replace this battery. These parts are very, very small. Just to give you an idea, I don't have a coin nearby, but this is a lighter. So these are the little crimps that go on the end of the wire, and they go into the actual plug. These little plugs right here. So I'm not going to be able to actually show you on camera because it requires two steady hands and I can't film while I do it. But the gist of it is these batteries come, I'm recording on my phone so I probably can't get it to focus, but they, see the little bare wire. All you do is very carefully keep these little crimps in while you do this first part because it makes it a lot easier. But basically you set it in there very carefully. The red part needs to be just, dang it. See how that red wire is just on the first little crimp. There's three parts to this thing. I can't get it to focus, I'm sorry. But this part all the way on the left is what actually goes into the female connector, and it locks into place. So you don't want to bend this part on the left. The middle one, it has like two little flaps. That's what actually holds the bare wire to the connector or to the crimp and what transfers the power. And then the one on the right that you start with is what holds the insulated part of the wire in the connector. So again, you want to get that red piece just on the outside to the right, those little two flaps. And this is the part I can't show you, but what you're gonna do is take something small. I use some little electronic tweezers, and I try to push it down as far as it'll go because it's kind of like a V shape, so it has some resistance. And they're very, so that actually looks good. And what you do when it's stuck like that, to get it started, I usually take some little very small needle nose pliers and I will squeeze that flap on the right. It's very tiny, but if you squeeze it and just hold the wire on the connector, that's a great place to start. And once you, actually I'm just gonna cut this part out. So that's where we are now. It's connected. If I pick up this battery, it's just gonna fall out. And I will try to squeeze that wire on. Okay, so it slid out of place. And if you do end up buying this stuff, buy a bunch of these. Like I only have 5 batteries, but I think I bought 60 of these, 50 of them, because if you mess up, you can't really salvage them. So that first one right there that I was working on, I'm gonna have to trash it because I bent the lead. I was trying to clamp the wire on and the wire popped out, and now the little V flaps are clamped shut. So I have to toss that one and start with the next one. Okay, so I was actually able to get my tweezers in there and kind of pry it open, so I didn't have to waste it. I'm just starting to do this, so I don't know the best way. I'm trying not to waste as many as possible, but I will try to get this lead in here and I'll show you in a second. All right, so all right, so do you see that first flap? I was able to crimp it around the insulated wire. And I know, again, it's really hard to see, but that bare wire is right in the middle of that middle crimp flaps. So what you do now is you want to make sure what you just crimped around the insulator is very tight, because you're about to take this piece off this little strip it came on. This is how they come on these long strips, but you're about to take that individual crimp off that strip. So you want to make sure it's very tight, because once it's off, it's almost impossible to get the wire back on it. So I'll show you when I get it off. And what I use to get it off is, you can bend them. I think that's the way you're supposed to do it, but they're very, 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 very small. So what I end up doing, I just use some cuticle cutters, and I just go behind it. There's a little, it's probably like 1/2 millimeter. You can kind of see it, of just metal, and I cut right before that first flap. I just cut that little piece of metal. Okay, now it's off, and that's what it looks like. And you see the other wire's still bare, but this is what this looks like. So the next step is you're gonna have to have some of these. These are, I think they're 20 to 32 gauge wire crimpers, and you have to have these specific ones. I don't know if you can see, but the top is kind of like flat, but you need these kind. I think I paid like 25 bucks on Amazon for them. They make other brands. These just got the best reviews, so I just went with these. And the next part, you're going to, I don't know if I'll be able to do this, but you take this lead that you just made, and there's a bottom. So you see the bottom's just metal, and the top has all the openings of the crimps. So you want to stick the completely metal bottom. That's going to be the bottom. So on these particular ones, I use the very first hole to the left, the smallest hole, and you stick it on you stick it right on here. You don't stick it down here, you stick it on this one. And this is why I said put the lead on first while it's connected to that thing, because it just makes this part so much easier. I tried to just put the crimp in there and then try to put the wire. It's just so small and it weighs like nothing, and it just falls out every time. It's almost impossible. So this is the easiest way I found to do it, and I will show you. You just put it in there. Most of them lock. Like if you get it, you heard that first click. If you get it kind of closed but not all the way, it'll lock, and you can just hold it like that, so it's a little bit easier. And I will show you what it looks like when I have it in the crimp. Okay, this is what it looks like when it's in the crimp. Like I said before, that little piece at the very end, the part that goes into the actual plug, you don't need to crimp that, because that'll just ruin the whole thing. So you can see it's sticking out. It's not going to be crimped. Just the two flaps, the one that holds the insulated wire and the one that actually grabs the bare wire, are going to be crimped. And once you have it to this, I clicked it a couple times so it wouldn't fall out when I picked up the camera, but you can hear it click. And all you do now, these by the way, these don't open until they're all the way crimped. So I don't know, that helps a little bit too. So all you're gonna do is just close it all the way. And I like to hold it there for a few seconds and pull it really hard. And then when you open it, it'll most likely be stuck there. And I just be careful not to mess the part you left out, the part you didn't crimp, because they are stuck in there. So I usually wiggle the wire from this side. Just wiggle it around. Sometimes I take my little tweezers. These wires are very, very delicate too, so don't yank on it. They're very, very small. Yeah, see, now it's out. And I'm not gonna put both of these leads on because they're the exact same thing. You just do it twice. But this last part I will show you. Usually these batteries have the negative coming out of the middle, the black wire. So you can see it's coming out of the middle, and then the red wire is coming out. If you're holding it like this, it's kind of left of the middle on the left side. So make sure you pay attention to that. I'm pretty sure all the iTools ones are likely going to be the same, and all batteries are probably going to be the same. But black is in the middle, just remember that. And black is negative. So the next thing we do, sorry, I'm going to have to put this camera down for just, no, maybe not. You get one of these guys. This is the female connector that actually plugs into your Bluetooth device. This is a stock battery that it came in. I just haven't, it's not bad yet, but I'm just making several batteries. So when it does start sucking, I can just easily replace it. But you can kind of see the orientation that it's in. It has these two that's what locks these crimps into place, that part. And then the back just has a single white dot, and that's what locks the actual, I don't know if you can see that, it has a little white dot. But that's what locks it into that connector right there that's actually on the board. So you want to orientate it the same. So on these, it's facing, you know, out, like this part. The part you can kind of see through is facing away from the board, and the, you know, the little white locking dot faces into the board. So you want to wire them the same. So on this one, the black is towards the top of the device and the red is towards the bottom of the device. And you can see right here it says, you know, positives on the left, negatives on the right. So you want to make sure you wire it the same, because you will screw your device up if you do them backwards. So this part's very easy, but I don't know if I'll be able to show you. Let me see if I can set my phone up here. That's not going to work because it's going to be upside down for you. But all you do is just lay it down, and we did the positive, so the positive is going to go on the left if you're looking at it. And again, you see the bottom, you know, it's just metal. That's going to be, if you have this, connector laying like this, where the part you can kind of see through is up, then it's gonna go, bottom's gonna be on the bottom, if that makes sense. You can see this little thing that sticks up, that's the top basically, just remember that. And all you do, I'm gonna have to put the camera down, you just slide it into there. You'll be able to get it in some, but you'll probably have to use a little pair of tweezers to get it in all the way. And I will show you what that looks like in just a second. All right, there it is. You can kind of feel, it doesn't really click, but you can, when it goes in all the way, you can kind of feel a little pop. But this is in, again, these wires are very, very small. They're probably like, I don't know, 30 gauge wire, somewhere between 28 and 30 gauge, but they're very, very, very small, so be careful because they can break, so don't yank on it. But once you think it's in, just give it a little tug, just not a lot, but just make sure it's in there, because, you know, you don't want it popping out when it's in your case. And that's basically it. You do the same thing for the other wire that you didn't do, and the stock battery has some glue on it, so when you want to replace your battery, you just you can probably get a little spudger under there, something like a toolkit, and something like this little spudger, even, you know, like this blue plastic one right here, just kind of get under the battery. Don't puncture the battery because it'll catch on fire, but just easily work the battery out. It's not hard. It's probably just some crappy glue. And once you pull it out, I don't think these come with any glue unless you bought a different kind. But yeah, just put it in there. And I noticed when I did, this is the battery I just did. It's a little tough to put in the male socket, the one that's on the board. It's a little tough to put in the first time because it's just brand new, but just don't bend those pins in there. Just they're a lot sturdier than the other stuff, but just take your time and just very carefully put it in. It's going to take a little bit extra force just because it's new, but after you put it in once, it'll be easy, just like the other one you took out. And then once it's in, secure your battery. You can put a little, it doesn't really matter, you can put a little glue, super glue, or you can put some, a little small piece of tape. If you want to be correct, you can get a little PCB board adhesive. It just doesn't matter. All this is just to keep your battery from wobbling around. And that's it. You got yourself a new battery. And I did want to tell you guys, this is the part numbers for the little crimps. This thing at the bottom of the screen, I call these crimps. So there's no letters in this, so if something looks like a Z, it's a 2. It's 05005888000, and then the female connector, the part on the end of the wires, that is 05102102000. And like I said, I bought these off Amazon. You need these are Molex brands, the crimps and the female connector. They're Molex, and Molex uses I think it's called Pico blade. That's what the end that actually goes into the little white female connector. It's a Pico blade connector, so you just want to make sure that your crimps say Pico blade on them, or they work with Pico blade stuff, and that's what I bought. And that's it, pretty much. Oh yeah, I got all these parts off Digitech. It's a big electronics supplier. When you do buy these, they're very cheap. They're like, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think they're like these little crimps, I want to say, are 18 cents a piece, I think. And then the little white female connectors are like 30 cents. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the New Zealand page. They're even cheaper than that. They're very, very cheap. So when you do buy this stuff, do like I did. Like I have 5 batteries, but I bought 50 of these because, they can get ruined very quickly, and it's two leads per battery. So that's 10 I'm gonna need, so I got 40 extra, and I'll probably buy new batteries in the future. But just buy extra because there's no free shipping, and it's like, I wanna say it was like $7 shipping. So the shipping's gonna cost more than the parts themselves. So just order too many parts. Not so much the like these things. I got double what I needed. I got 10 because those are, those aren't easy to mess up. But I did get a buttload of these. And that's it. You can ask me if you have any questions. Later.